But Republican Congressman Tim Murphy of Pennsylvania wants more answers. He joins us now. Well, first of all, do you believe that any U.S. money has ended up funding workers in Finland?
Well, we certainly knew ahead of time, before the loan went through, that Fisker said they can't build the cars in America. And at that point, this whole program should have raised big red flags for everybody at the Department of Energy and saying this is to develop things for jobs in America. We're still caught up in a huge recession with millions of Americans out of work. Why would we even do the research on this car? Why would we even do the design and engineering knowing full well the manufacturing will not take place here? And that's the kind of thing that Congress is worried about. What is going through the minds of folks at the Department of Energy when they know full well that $500 million is going to go to create jobs in another country? We're looking for jobs here, and we found them in Finland.
Now, I want to give Fisker a fair break here, because here is their math, according to them, and how they've spent their money. The $529 million, about $300 million has been drawn down so far. They bought the plant in Delaware, where they hope to make the less expensive electric car with U.S. workers. They only paid $18 million for that. That wasn't a big expense. They paid an additional $175 million to refurbish and retool that plant. They're in the process of that, but that is still a lot less than the $300 million that they've drawn down so far. So are you asking for a full accounting of where all the money has been spent?
I want a full accounting of this, and if the work that's being done here is helping to promote and support the jobs in Finland. We are struggling here, and when we see that loans to a solar power company is used to create jobs in Mexico, when we see loans going to Solyndra, when everybody knew they were going to collapse, and then someone makes the taxpayer secondary receivers on that, and we won't see money again. Who's making these decisions? What is going on in the Department of Energy that they're insensitive to the jobs that we're trying to create here? Quite frankly, this goes back to the concern we have. When Congress placed a moratorium on earmarks, it was because there was concern that in some cases, people were using these to push political issues and not really a job or things that might necessarily be good for America. Big question mark there. So we said, let's put a hold on this and let's investigate it and find a better way. But what I think we've replaced that with is presidential earmarks, where they've taken the stimulus bill, they've taken this energy bill, and they've turned it into their own program.
Now, we have tried to get, we've contacted Fisker. In fact, one of our contributors, Toby Smith, is a private investor in Fisker Automotive. He's been trying to get details of where they've been spending the money. So far, we've come up short in getting the specifics of those details. We're still trying. Are you going to try to get the details about exactly where the money's been spent?
Yes, we are going to try and get the details of exactly where the money's been spent. And quite frankly, I would hope that American investors will also ask those questions. You know, look, I know they want to make a profit. I understand that. That's the capitalist way. That's okay. But still, with millions of Americans out of work, we still ought to be concerned first of how we can create American jobs and back those up.
Now, I'm looking at some of the other companies that have received some of these grants. We had Ford Motor Company. They got a $5 billion loan guarantee. Nissan, which, of course, is a foreign car company, got about $1.5 billion through this program. And, of course, Tesla Motors got about $500 million. Are you looking into all of these loans, or are you just focused on Solyndra and Fisker?
Well, I'd like to know where all of them ended up going. Look, we recognize that vehicles have parts made around the world. And we know you can have an American car company making that car in Canada or Mexico, and you can have a Japanese company making just about all of that car in the United States. All in all, we need to be asking about where are the jobs, where are they occurring, and I think in every case it's an important accountability that the taxpayers simply want to know. If you're taking money from taxpayers, let it be for American jobs. So let's look at this and let's broaden and look at all these areas.
Is it really possible? I mean, I know Fisker's argument that they've been able to isolate their accounts for foreign operations from domestic operations, but if you have a certain amount of money you're spending on domestic operations, that frees you up to spend money elsewhere. So is it really possible to isolate U.S. funds for U.S. workers if you have operations overseas? I
don't know how strongly they can isolate that, because, as you said, Fisker otherwise would have to invest their own private money into the R&D, the research and development and design and engineering for this vehicle that is going to be made in Finland. So those jobs made in the United States, it still benefits the company greatly, and that's where we're going, bottom line concern. I'm not sure how much you can isolate that. I also know in this international economy where parts are made everywhere and the raw components are made all over the world too, we recognize that. bottom line, though, is the Department of Energy needs to be putting that questionnaire. That's why those three conditions that went into the energy bill, you had to be able to pay back the principal and interest, you had to show you can build the product, and you could not subordinate the taxpayers. I think with Fisker, it raises some of the second question. When they said, you know what, we can't build the product in America. Technically, the bill doesn't say that against the law, but some of the spirit of the law, when these departments are there working for the American taxpayer, they should have at least asked the question and said, you know, maybe we ought to try and find another way to do this.
Congressman Tim Murphy, thank you for coming on, sir. Appreciate it.